What we didn't think about during the course of the season was as soon as we mentioned trial, everyone jumped on. That's when we actually got worried, like we didn't hide the ball well enough. By episode 5, when Larry was going to the lawyer's office talking about a trial, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to do the Seinfeld finale again. They're going to go to trial." At first that did bum me out a bit, but then I realized, no, this is great. Let it slowly dawn on them that this is inexorable, that we are slowly moving towards the thing they can't believe we're going to do, and then we'll get there. We'll get all the way up until that final moment, and then we'll flip it. Executive producer Jeff Schaffer on the finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm. 26 years earlier, each member of the audience, even family members, had to go through a metal detector to ensure that there were no secret recording devices hidden under shirts or in pockets. Each had to sign a confidentiality agreement. Nothing of what was seen or heard would be told to anyone before the broadcast. They sat on bleachers before the stage. This was the taping of the final episode of Seinfeld, the last before it went off the air forever, except, of course, in endless reruns. By this time, the entire nation was addicted to the show, and its ending, at the height of its popularity, had been major news ever since the announcement. Coming out to warm up the audience, Seinfeld, the star, co-creator, and sometime writer of the show, who was most associated with its success, joked that the audience members, who had actually managed to acquire tickets, thought they were hot shit. He compared it to having seats on the grassy knoll for the Kennedy assassination. It was a cocky, even arrogant thing to say, but Seinfeld could easily get away with it. The show had made him the most popular comic on the planet. He asked whether he ought to say something to make everyone cry. Actually, Julia Louis-Dreyfus was already crying. Seinfeld reiterated to the audience the need not to tell people about the show before it aired. John Lovitz, one of the celebrities in the audience, yelled out, "Do you have any hush money?" The taping was long and arduous. It didn't end until 2 a.m. The ostensible director was Andy Ackerman, veteran of the show. But there was another man moving about the set, helping actors with their line readings, deciding whether a take was good enough or had to be done over. Tall and lanky, balding and bespectacled, he gestured broadly with his hands stretched out, hummed under his breath, broke up laughing, or consulted the script in his hands. It was his script, after all. He, Larry David, had been tapped to write the very last episode of the country's most popular sitcom, and he had been given an hour, twice the usual airtime. The television audience was not familiar with Larry David. Most didn't know his name, despite its prominent appearance in the show's credits. Few knew what he looked like. They did not realize that he was as responsible, perhaps even more responsible, for the success of Seinfeld as Jerry was. He had written its most famous episode, The Contest, and many other great episodes, and he had presided over the first 7 seasons of the show. He had come up with the idea that it would be about nothing, that it would break the conventional sitcom rules, that there would be no learning, no hugging. The character of George was closely based on him. Kramer was based on a man with the same last name who lived next door to him. Jerry's parents were modeled on Larry David's parents. Many of the storylines came from Larry's own life. The show had made him rich, but not famous the way that Jerry and the other actors were. If Larry David was frustrated by the lack of recognition, he kept it to himself. But the press had written extensively about his writing the script as part of the lead-up to the air date. In a way, he was introduced to America as its author. And the pressure was on him to end the show on an appropriately high note. People were expecting a brilliant finale, perhaps the funniest episode of all. Jerry had been running the show without his co-creator since Larry had quit in 1996. 2 seasons. But before the 9th began, he met with Larry to tell him he thought this would be the show's last. The characters, he thought, were getting too old to keep acting so immaturely. As Larry later put it, all the dating would have been unseemly.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, Click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.